Good morning, Professor Ciobanu. I would like to ask about contemporary techniques. Are contemporary flute techniques a way to express or shape compositional thought?
Good morning, Doctor Iwona Glinka. Thank you. Contemporary flute techniques expand the scope of means of expression, enrich the world of sounds and sonorities, and bring new sound images that describe the phenomenal world and the nature around us. Contemporary techniques can reproduce very authentic and fine images of sound phenomena, increasing emotional gradation and gradation of psychological states. When a composer has the need to bring a universe of new images, to go beyond the boundaries of old music, he shapes his thinking and seeks new sources of expression. We cannot dispute the extended techniques on instrument in contemporary music, just as we cannot dispute the advances that have occurred in IT, in AI, and all areas of life.
Which composers' works featuring contemporary flute techniques have made the greatest impression on you?
I will not refer to the works of composers Sciarrino, Fernichau, Filidei, and others that have already become very familiar from the work that I have listened to recently and whose scores I have. I would mention Honami by Will Offermans, although here Tsuru no Fugomori or harmonics, the piece Zoom for flute and guitar by Christoph Wagner, the pieces by Mikhail Travlos, especially Antigone, Nymphaea by Chiyo Lee, Circuit by Violeta Dinescu, Solomonarul by Diana Rotaro, Flame Must Not Encircle Sights by Robert Dick, and others.
Do you have bibliographies of contemporary flute techniques? If so, which ones?
Since 1992, I have had copies of the manuals for playing woodwind instruments published by the Suvini Zerboni publishing house in Milan, Italy. It's a so-called Metodo. I also have a copy of the book The Techniques of Flute Playing, written by Karin Levine and Christina Mitropoulos both, and a few selected pages from Metodo per flauto by Salvatore Sciarrine, also published by Edizioni Suvini Zerboni. I am currently waiting to receive the book Tone Development Through Extended Techniques by Robert Dick from the Multiple Breeze Music Company. I constantly watch guides with explanation of extended techniques made by different performers, including flutists, on YouTube.
Do you create a legend in your works with full descriptions of contemporary techniques?
Full descriptions are necessary if the composer wants the performer to understand and reproduce the content of the music as closely as possible. I sometimes make legends that precede the text of the work, but sometimes the descriptions are written right in the places in the score where the sound regulation appear. I prefer to notate some procedures precisely, for example, multiphonics and metro intervals, but there are other regulations whose notation offers relative freedom to the performer, as for example, when indistinct murmur, permanent fluctuation of the tone, oscillation of the intensity, irregular vibrato, trills, jet, whistle, or whisper tones are needed. On YouTube, you can now find many sites containing explanation of extended techniques on any instrument, recorded by valuable performers. And if the performer has never played helicopter sound on the bassoon, for example, he can find a detailed explanation.
Which contemporary flute techniques do you like best?
I like those techniques that are most apt at the moment to reproduce the desired image. First, I think about the sound image of the place where a contemporary techniques is required in relation to the content and the general expression of the piece. Then I choose from the arsenal of techniques I know the most appropriate one, adapting it to the sound context. Thus, in the piece Morning Shadows, for example, I used just whistle tones, whisper tones, tongue stop, pizzicato, wind tones, flatterzunge. But I was most happy when the idea of using trumpet embouchure in a fitting place came to me. In the piece apparition, I use along these techniques Aeolian sound and key percussion only. And if in these works there was no place to multiphonics or harmonics, which I like very much, then in the piece Spatium Sonans, for example, these techniques are using.
Thank you very much.